go live in 3 seconds.
Yep.
We're live.
What a crazy day of Test cricket that we witnessed in Lords. Day 1 of the England versus New Zealand Test was simply a sensational day. Already there was build-up, folks. Green wicket, overcast conditions, Lords, the start of the Test summer. After 2 months of slam-bang T20 action, you felt that finally the real Test cricket is here. But what did we see? 17 wickets fell on the first day at Lords. The batsmen seemed to be playing a test, but they were actually stuck in IPL mode. Some of the players who had not played the IPL, their technical inefficiencies came to the fore totally. I am going to just preview day 2, what is in store, and I will review day 1 as to how it went. Initially, New Zealand chose to bat, but they were totally dismantled by the brilliance of James Anderson. I mean, let us make no mistake about it, he is one of the greatest of all time. 4 wickets for 66 runs. That new ball spell in particular, those 2 wickets that he got of Will Young as well as of Tom Latham, they just shot up from the deck, and they were also swing, classical late swing in that channel and also extra bounce. Latham and Will Young totally undone by it. So James Anderson was the star with 4 for 66. But let us not forget this guy, Matty Potts from Durham. 4 wickets for 13 runs, utilized the slope brilliantly, and also, if you have to look at it, got late movement in. We saw how the New Zealand players struggled as to, okay, whether I should leave, whether I should play. Tom Blundell, a classic case, the New Zealand wicketkeeper was in 2 minds, whether to leave or to just play at it. In the end, he did neither, dragged the ball back and onto the stumps. We all thought that 132, whether it was going to be a very good score indeed. In the end, what did we just see? The dynamic trio, out of that famed quartet of 4, the trio did it. Kyle Jamieson got the initial breakthrough with 2 wickets. He was well backed up by Tim Southee and Trent Boult. 2 for 15 by Boult. Tim Southee with his actual brilliance. 2 for 15. Boult and Southee both have an excellent record at Lords. Boult took a 5-wicket haul the last time he was here in Lords in the Test match. Southee, in fact, has a 10-wicket haul at Lords. So it is a testament to the greatness of this opening duo that New Zealand stayed in the game despite Zach Crawley and Alex Lees getting off to a good start. But it was Jamieson who provided the breakthrough. Jamieson 2 wickets, and then what happened we saw was a typical England collapse. De Grandhomme, on the other hand, took the wicket of Joe Root. So at the end of the day, what did we see? 116 for 7. And they are trailing by 16 runs with only 3 wickets left. England squandered away the advantage because, as you know, Lords actually can become a great batting pitch as the game progresses on. So, if I have to say what a horrible batting collapse, because 15 of no loss and 116 for 7, well, I'll give you this stat. New Zealand's collapse, 36 for 6 at the top, was kind of saved, if you have to look at the broader picture, by De Grandhomme's aggressive 42 and some lusty blows from Tim Southee. But no, folks, 8 for 7 is not a betting odd, it is not a typo. England lost 8 wickets for 7 runs, and that is why you see that collapse has made that England are 116 for 7. It just begs the question as to what happened, because there have been so many collapses in this way from England in the past 1 year. Like, this is New England. Well, Phoenix has got a way to troll. Well, McCullum is at the helm, Stokes is at the helm, but New England seems to have been stuck in old England times. So, this bowling duo, this trio from Jamieson, Southee and Boult ensured that England just did not have anything to do. Everybody is now focusing on one aspect, like, oh, the pitch at Lords must be really, really bad. 17 wickets. If this was in the subcontinent, the ICC and every other analyst from England, Australia or from New Zealand might have just slammed the subcontinent wicket. But at Lords, 17 wickets, okay, we'll keep a silent eye on it. But actually, let me tell you, it was a combination of bad batting rather than poor pitch, if I may have to say. Let me just give you an example of Alex Lees. Alex Lees was standing on off stump, showing middle and leg. Tim Southee bowling from round the wicket. What would you expect from the slope? He would just dart it in. He missed the ball, clear and simple. Where was a poor pitch in that? So that is one dismissal that I will say that it is not a poor pitch, it's poor batting. Joe Root couldn't ride the bounce of Colin de Grandhomme and he edged out to gully. By the way, this is not the second time that Root has fallen to de Grandhomme in this fashion. At the Bay Oval Test in 2019, Root couldn't ride the bounce that de Grandhomme generated from a dead wicket. He just guided it and straight to gully. So that is how Root has not managed to overcome the de Grandhomme factor in that sense. Okay, Ben Stokes, classic, away swinging delivery edge. But every wicket that has been on this wicket on this pitch has been either through movement in the air or off the deck, especially down the slope in that angle with which Matty Potts was bowling. He was not only angling it in, he was also getting the ball to dart back in. So it was a tremendous exhibition from the New Zealand bowlers and the England bowlers. The batting is the major concern. Good for us, India might have a chance to dominate and win the series. Arijit Soni is saying, yes, I mean, India's bowling, if they face this England batting, it is not very difficult to say it will be 3-1. Which team has the upper hand going into day 2? But I think it is not that type of day where such collapse occurred. Dipanshu, exactly I am saying. This isn't a bad wicket, if I may have to look at the broader picture. Look at the dismissals. Tom Latham, unable to ride the bounce. He didn't play the IPL, but still there were some technical inefficiencies. Will Young, classic swing, poked hard outside off. Devon Conway played the IPL, played a rash shot, got out. So it is the inability of the batters to adjust to the wicket. Rather than blaming that the pitch was poor, like in the subcontinent tournament, it's a bit of a myopic way of looking at it that, okay, if 17 wickets fell to spin in the subcontinent, then it's a bad wicket. No, it is technical inefficiency. If I may compare Lords to that Ahmedabad wicket, wherein the game was over in 1.5 days or 2 days for the benefit of doubt, the batsmen just played round straight deliveries. Akshar Patel and Ravichandran Ashwin were getting wickets through straight delivery. It was not a dust bowl where the ball pitched on off but went straight past leg stump. It wasn't that kind of a wicket in Motera in 2021. Even here, there was general swing, but you would expect it from Bolt, Southee, Anderson, Potts and Broad. But the batsmen just didn't adapt to it. And why David Malan's not playing at 3? Well, why is David Malan not playing? That's a big mystery that only the England selectors can answer. So it is not that type of Dipanshu, I totally agree. It is not a wicket where you can collapse so spectacularly. 36 for 6 and then losing the plot entirely. 8 runs, 7 wickets. What do you do? So I just cannot understand why it is. Colin de Grandhomme was a typical test all-rounder. Fareed is saying, yes, he's a perfect all-rounder. I mean, 42 runs now in the picture of the Lord's Test, it's actually gold dust, if you have to say, because 42 runs he rescued New Zealand from a precarious position of 36 for 6, got support from Southee, and that's how they went to 100. But you must say that England have just thrown away the advantage. Now heading into day 2, what do you expect? England will be very lucky if they can get a lead of over 50 runs, but even that is not enough. New Zealand then in the second innings will have to bat really, really well, post a total in excess of 450, 500. It is that kind of a wicket which I feel in the 2006 series, England versus Sri Lanka. Both teams got out pretty cheaply. I mean, Sri Lanka got out cheaply, England made a big total, but then Sri Lanka bounced back in the second innings thanks to Mahela Jayawardene's stun. It seems to be that kind of a beginning to the test match in 2006. But I will say that if New Zealand get the remaining 3 wickets for under 15 runs, then they have the lead. Then you can build upon it, but New Zealand's batters, especially Conway and Latham and Will Young, have to do it. Williamson, yet again, I don't know what is bothering Williamson, fell to Matty Potts' first debut over. You just have to understand that his elbow injury is chronic. It might take a lot more time for him to get back into fluency. So, do you think Stuart Broad is greatest home track bully? Fareed, okay. I will forever try and lay this debate to rest that Stuart Broad and James Anderson are just home bullies. Everybody is criticizing Clouderson yet again getting swing in England conditions, but Anderson is a total all-round package. Yes, he will not have 5-wicket hauls to show it, but for impact, India, just ask in 2012, just ask Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who do you think was the X factor? It was James Anderson. when England won in Australia the last time in 2010, who was the difference maker apart from Alistair Cook, Jonathan Trott, and you may say Ian Bell and Matt Pryor? It was James Anderson and his bowling. Yes, Swan won you the game in Adelaide, but it was Anderson every single time. Stuart Broad has not again gotten 5-wicket hauls, if I may say, in the subcontinents, but he is once again the able folly to Anderson's brilliance. 538 wickets. Genuine question. Who can drop a player who has 644 wickets and 538 wickets? A combined total of 1,182 wickets. Only England can. I don't think he's a home bully. The numbers don't back him up, but impact, he's done well in Australia, he's done well in New Zealand and in West Indies and South Africa. Yes, it's not good in the subcontinent, but he's not bowled much in the subcontinent. So I will just lay that theory to rest. England has yes, but Stuart Broad has tried. He's tried in Australia, he was their best bowler in 2013. He tried in New Zealand, he's done well in New Zealand also. He's done well even in the West Indies and South Africa to a certain extent, but in the subcontinent, yes. We all judge through the prism of the subcontinent, but he's not done well there. Then, is the pitch green? England lost this one, but again, Parth, the pitch might be green, but there was very bad application. It wasn't a good application at all. So, Anderson and Matt Potts, 8 wickets, swing bowlers, hardly touching 85 miles per hour. 83, Anderson touched peak 83 miles, so did Matty Potts. Clear technical deficiency. Who is Jack Leach's concussion replacement? Shashank Pandey. Shashank Pandey, his name is Matthew Parkinson. Incidentally, Parkinson came to know that he was the concussion substitute only later. He was in Manchester. So he had to drive down from Manchester to London in quick time to make it. So yes, Matthew Parkinson will be the concussion substitute for Jack Leach. So Nishant Sharma, 11, thank you. Is an overly, you made 300. Nishant Sharma, the history of the Lord's wicket suggests that as the game progresses, the pitch will ease out. It will become a totally flat deck. Chasing 400, 450 might be very difficult, but then you have the variety. That's where Ajaz Patel might come into play from the 4th innings. So one hopes New Zealand build up a sizable total because you would want 450 to 500 just to have that buffer of going for the win. So that is about it. On day 2, brief is simple. New Zealand will want to bundle England out right away in the next 10-15 runs. And then let's hope that New Zealand bat well. If Broad can frustrate New Zealand and get them to a lead of 30 to 50 runs, then advantage might be slightly dented for New Zealand. But otherwise, England have thrown away the advantage. New Zealand are on top heading into day 2. So thank you so much, people, for joining us for this preview and review of the New Zealand-England Test match at Lord's. I'll be back for more such analysis, and if there is any special event that happens, subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news, analysis and features. Press the like, comment and share button as well as the bell icon. We are also there on Facebook. Thank you.